Welcome to this overtime continuation of Rob Walgate's conversation with Cosmin Bota. We had an hour-long talk with him about his childhood escape from Romania's communist socialist regime. If you missed it, it's available on YouTube at TPS in Studio or at thepublicsquare.com. But today we're going to talk about what Cosmin is doing now.
And I'm like, all right, God, I'm glad. I helped. I'm done. Good to go. That wasn't it. That was not even slightly the beginning of what God had planned, because a month later, the missions pastor, he's like, hey, I heard you went to Ukraine. I said, yeah.
The missions pastor at your church,
at my church,
here in the United States.
Yeah, because I never told him. Yeah, in the United States, in Medina.
Yeah, you didn't tell the missions
pastor.
pastor.
No, because again, this was not a mission trip. It wasn't,
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, there's 900 orphans and foster kids living in Turkey from Ukraine. Do you want to help? And I said, yes. And then a month and a half later, I find myself in Turkey with two other guys from here to do a soccer camp for 900 kids living in 3 hotels that we had no clue what we're going into. So we went in as soccer trainers. Like, I remember we took 4 or 5 duffel bags full of soccer equipment. And we actually connected with a Russian Christian church in Turkey that was helping these Ukrainian orphans. So I wasn't sure how they were. Are they legit?
Yeah.
They're Christian. You want to believe that they're good. You just never know. So they said, you can come. I made a connection with them, with the pastor there. It's like, just come. You come in with us to these hotels. Because we couldn't just show up at these hotels.
Yeah.
There's guards.
Yeah.
Blocking. You had to have permission from this nonprofit that got started from Ukraine. This entrepreneur started funding this whole project. It was called something without war, Childhood Without War. So Childhood Without War was a nonprofit that was started in Ukraine to start just sending kids that were orphans and foster families to Turkey to evacuate them out. So we were like, all right, we want to come help. We came for 10 days. We stayed at one hotel for 4 days. We stayed at another hotel for 4 days, and we visited one of the hotels. They didn't need as much help. Actually, the third hotel, I can say this because they're not there anymore. It was all military families. The moms with the kids and all of their husbands were on the front lines.
Oh, man.
So that was one of the 3 hotels.
Wow.
And so we were not really, we went to visit it, to encourage them, but we didn't stay there. We worked with the other hotels with all the kids. So we literally play soccer in the morning and soccer in the afternoon, and really trying to investigate and see what this looks like. Is there opportunity here? So I come back home. It was me, Dallas, and Tommy. We come back home, and more people are like, hey, we heard you went to Turkey to work with Ukrainian orphans and foster kids. We're like, yeah, like, we want to go. We're like, I'm not sure if I'm going back, but you guys want to go? Like, yeah. So 4 months later, we went back with a team of 10 people. 4 months later, we went back. So we went for 10 days, came back, more people want to go. Came back, 15 people volunteered to go. 4 months later, another 10 people went. 4 months later, another 24 volunteers from here went. 4 months later, another.
Just because they want to help.
They just want to help. Yeah. So in a span of 2 years, we went to Turkey 6 times. Every 4 months, we went to visit them. From a team that started with 3 of us to the biggest team was 24 volunteers.
Amazing.
And I always discourage people from coming. Because we work with orphans and foster kids. And I'm a foster dad here. We've been foster parents for 5-6 years, my wife and I and our 2 boys. And bringing kids in, introduce them to new relationships, to love, to kindness, to joy, and you tear that away and you don't bring it back, it just more neglect is brought into their life, more loss. And so my discouragement for people is like, if I do not want you to come to Turkey with us, if you do not plan on going to at least 2 or 3 more trips in the next year or 2. This is not the once in a lifetime trip to do. This is not it. Not when we're working with orphans and foster kids. Because I've had people, a 13-year-old orphan said to me on one of the trips, our second or third trip, she's like, Cosmin, it's maybe better if you don't come here. And it took me by surprise. I'm like, why not? She's like, because you love on us, you take care of us, and then you leave. And it broke my heart. It brought tears to my eyes. Even now thinking, it brings tears, because the last thing I want to do is hurt already the hurt people. Let alone, I hate hurting people that are perfectly fine, and I just do bad decisions and choices, and I hurt people, right? If it's family or friends or whoever or a stranger, that's not what we're called to do as Christians. We're called to love, right? But when she said that, it really broke my heart. And I looked at her in the eyes and said, look, I cannot promise you I will ever come back. I can't. But what I am promising you is I will do everything I can to come back.
Yeah.
And since then, I've seen her 5 times. She just turned 18 last month. Yeah. And so I've seen her literally 5 times since then. And she's just amazing. She wrote me. I saw her. We end up, now we're going to Ukraine. So I'll come back to her in a little bit, I guess. But like after the 2 years of Turkey, that project ended. And all those kids got sent back to Ukraine, but they got put into foster families.
Okay.
So Ukraine's doing away with orphanages and going to foster families themselves, just like we have the program here.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I really thought that our time with Ukrainian orphans and foster kids is done. And but God opened a door to go to Ukraine to do a foster family camps and orphans camp. So last year was our first time there. Me and 2 other people went. And we thought, all right, we'll go see what Ukraine looks like now. If God's opening a door there, and I never thought I would go to Ukraine during the war again. I really didn't. Because I didn't think, 1, that God would open doors, or 2, that people would want to go with me. I'm like, who's going to want to go to a war country, still? But Dallas, who originally went with me the first time to Turkey, he said he'll go. And then we had one more Ukrainian person. Her name was Toma from South Carolina that said she'll go. And actually, we had 6 people said yes, and then they kept dropping off. And at the end, it was just me and Dallas. And I said, Dallas, I'm like, we are not going to Ukraine. He's like, why not? I was like, it's just 2 of us. Everybody else backed out. God always put on my heart to go with 3 of us. And one of us 3 has to be Ukrainian. So that way they can speak the language. If we need anything, they're able to contact somebody or, get things done.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's just us 2. He's like, what? I'm like, I know, man. I'm bummed too. But it's not meant to be. The next day, this girl calls me. She's like, hey, my brother's wedding is canceled. I can go. I'm like, are you sure? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, let's get on the phone. The next day we got on the phone and we just like, all right, we're going. Her brother's wedding got canceled.
Amazing.
And so
now I'm going to ask the question that some may be thinking, some maybe not. I know I'm thinking because I know how these trips work. I know these aren't cheap trips. And this is not inexpensive. There's a lot of time spent raising funds that these, you talked at one trip, you took 24 people.
Yeah.
I mean, when it's all said and done, that's easily a $100,000 trip, right?
Yeah. So yeah, the money is a thing. Everything has been done completely organic, meaning I bought a plane ticket through United and I gave the ticket to whoever's coming and I said, here's my ticket, purchase it. And everybody raised their own support because I couldn't fund it.
Yeah.
And
that's amazing.
And then I raised support and we did as a team for the materials.
Amazing.
So, but completely organic, not a nonprofit. It's not through our church.
Amazing.
This has never been through our church. Our church has supported us a little bit here and there and other churches, but everybody is completely organic. Every single time I bought a ticket. On the 6th trip, I end up not going to Turkey actually. And I end up Dallas. I said, look, I'm not going to go for a couple different reasons. One, I wanted to be at home. My family needed me at the time. And also I want to set up another leader. And because he's been with me on all the trips outside of the first trip to Ukraine, he's been with me on all the trips to Turkey. I said, look, this thing is not about me. If something happens to me, I want this to continue. So why don't you lead it and go without me? He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, this is not a Cosmin thing. This is a Jesus thing. This is not me.
That's what I was going to say. The answer is always there. He provides, right?
Yep.
He provides.
Yep. And he opened a door every single time. It's all Jesus. And so he led that team. And so now, the money was all there, provided by God every single time, and every individual person.
Cool.
So with going to Ukraine, that camp, we connected with a Christian camp. This town, Cherkasy, it's the town. I probably pronounced it wrong, so I apologize if you're listening to this in Ukrainian. But it's 2 hours south of Kyiv, 5 hours north of Dnipro. And a lot of our foster families and kids moved back to the Dnipro region. And so we found this camp, and they said, hey, you want to come to our camp? I said, we'll come to your camp and check it out, but only if I can invite foster families that are not Christian, the ones that we met from Turkey, and they're in Dnipro area. They're like, okay, but this is a Christian camp, and only for Christian families and Christian foster families that they're trying to cater to. So me, Dallas, and Tomas show up. We take 4 flights to Romania to get to the border, Suceava, and then we get a car ride to the border to take us over. And now we're getting picked up in Ukraine by this pastor I've never met in my life before. I've talked to him, but never met him, to drive us 16 hours to this village. So now our trips to Ukraine are literally two and a half days of travel, because you can't fly in Ukraine. So you have 4 flights to get to Romania and then the additional driving. And so we get to this camp. One family took us up on the offer to pay for her and her 9 kids to come to this camp. She has 9 foster kids living with her, this one woman.
Wow.
Now, she's not a believer. So, but this is a new ministry opportunity, we see it as. And there were 7 other foster families at this camp. They're all Christian. And then we brought this one family. At the end of the camp, the director, the last night, says to me and my team and his team, like, Cosmin, you helped us fulfill a dream or vision we've had. I'm like, what's that? He's like, you brought the first non-Christian family to our camp. I'm like, praise God. I'm like, that's, in my mind, like, that's crazy. That's some Romanian American with these Americans are used by God to do this with a family that we met in Turkey. They moved back to Ukraine, 5 hours away. We pay for her driving. He picked her up. We pay for all his gas. We pay for their camp, the all-inclusive camp here for her and her kids. And they loved it.
Wow.
She did not mind the biblical education and things like that. But she came because she remembered how we loved on her kids and on her in Turkey, and she trusted us. That's the key for like foster and orphans. Relationships. You build trust, and you stay committed to what you're gonna say you're gonna do as much as you can. And so she came, and she's like, I want to come back next year. Will you invite me? I said yes. So we invited her for this last summer, and then 5 other families came this summer.
It's amazing.
And organically, we raised funds for all of them, for all their travel and for their stay and everything. To drive 5 hours, I think we sent 2 or 3 vans to bring all these kids, because there's 30 kids the first week they were all foster kids.
Yeah.
And then the next week we brought 19 teenagers, because we did a second camp this year with 19 teenagers from Dnipro. They're all orphans or foster kids.
Very cool.
And now we literally, this year, we just opened up a nonprofit. It's called Transform Lives Global.
And it focuses on that?
The focus is orphans and foster kids internationally and locally. We work with foster families here. We're trying to create a support system, which is already in place, but we're trying to see how do we do it as a nonprofit. But more than that, my focus is aged out foster kids.
Yeah, you and I talked about that, because once they get to be 18, what is there for them to help? Because it's not always easy.
It's definitely not easy growing up with a foster family, because you just don't know what you're getting into. And these kids, I mean, we hear stories of all the time. We've had kids that have been in 5 foster families prior to ours. 5, they just get bounced around because families like, no, this is too much. We don't want this. This is too long. Whatever the reason, they're too bad. They get bounced around a lot. And so, and when you're 18, you're completely on your own if you never get adopted. There's a couple organizations out there that say, all right, we'll give you some money, but you got to be in school and work. If you're not, you lose the fund, and then you're on your own. And that funding pays for their food and their bed, like wherever they're renting to stay.
Yeah.
So right now we're looking for organizations that house those kids. And I don't want to come in as a program. No, I want to come in as a relational partner with those places that they're staying in and with these individuals. We want to provide a relational ministry to them. As people, as friends, the goal is to introduce them to Jesus, but we want them to have a person that they can call if they're have a flat tire, or if they're like, hey, this happened at work, what I do, right? They're not going to call their county worker. They could care less.
Yeah.
They can call one of my team members or me saying, hey, I'm having trouble with my boyfriend or my girlfriend. I don't know what to do, or this happened. We are able to be there for them.
You're going to help guide them into adulthood, because when the day we turn 18, it's not like a switch goes off and, we're ready now.
No.
There's a lot of trial and error, and they need those people to help guide them through. So I applaud.
No. Yeah, thank you. Or where do they go for Christmas or Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
They don't have family. Who gives them a meal?
Yeah.
So we want to be there for them, because there's.
And the
there's
name of that is
Transform Lives Global. So you can go transformlivesglobal.org, and we also have an Instagram page.
Transformlivesglobal.org is where they can learn about the work you're doing. But there's always a need, no matter what community you're in, whether you're in Ukraine, the United States, Ohio, California, there's a need for foster families, is there not?
There is. And the Bible calls us to help and actually to visit orphans and widows in James 1, right? And so we don't need to go internationally to do these great things to be used by God. Locally, I tell my team, whenever we come back, the mission is not over, guys. We just are continuing here in America now. And when we go to Ukraine, we are on mission there. We come back, we're still on mission.
America needs missionaries in different capacities. They need the people on the street preaching the gospel, but we also need families that are living the gospel 100%. And helping out those widows, helping out those orphans.
100%. And one way to help our American orphans is the foster system. So we need, I encourage and challenge people that are listening or whoever hears to become a foster family. But you might say, like, Cosmin, the biggest thing is like, I can never have a kid in my house just because of whatever reason. Said, okay, that's fine. But how can you help a family that has foster kids? Can you provide a meal? Can you go babysit for them? Can you go take the kids out to the park? Can you just be in that house while the mom or the dad does the laundry or does the dishes or does whatever? They can go out on a date night, right? So everybody can do something. What is that something that you can do? And a lot of times people say, like, I could never have foster kids because I get attached. Well, what did Jesus do for us? Did Jesus not get so attached to us, but he gave his life for us? I think we need to get attached. Those kids need to feel that love. And if you're saying, oh, it's about me, you're wrong.
Getting attached is a positive.
Correct.
That's
they
a good
need
thing.
that.
Yeah.
And they need to see that in that you get attached to them and that you are attached to your wife and to your kids. They need to see a healthy family because they haven't seen it.
Yeah.
This girl that's here, she said to me the other day, and I'm not sure if we're going to put this or not, but like she said, I'm kind of guiding her through life. She's 21 now. And
she's not from here.
She's not from here. She was born in Ukraine, foster kid for the last 10, 12 years. And I said, do you want my opinion? I try not to give my opinion anymore if not asked. And I said, what do you want from me? Because she's asking me some questions about relationships, about things like that. She has a job here now, right? This is what we want to do with foster kids here locally. Same thing we did with her. She's in a church community with young adults. She just came back from a retreat, and has guys that have interest in her now. And I said, what do you want from? I asked her, how can I help you? She's like, I want you to protect me. And so she's like, okay, so you're giving me opportunity for me to give you my opinion. She's like, yes. That's what they want, right? Foster kids here want to feel protected, want to feel loved and cared for. And for us to say, I can never do that because I'm going to get too attached, then you're selfish. Then it's, what can I do, right? What am I willing to allow happen to me, not thinking about the other person? We need to be selfless, right? And we need to think about others, right? Giving up of ourselves, dying to ourselves, and not saying that's going to be too hard for me. We can't think like that. So we need more foster families here locally.
Cosmin, people are going to be listening to this and saying, well, now Cosmin's in his 40s, and talk to us about the last 20 years briefly. Let us know. They're like, well, you've got to raise funds to go these places. You're a business owner. Mm-hmm. You've been a business owner. You've worked your tail off to make your professional career happen in a way that could, I don't want to say subsidize your mission work, but in essence, it has subsidized some of your mission work and allowed you to do those things.
I knew I always wanted to have my own business. I just never knew in what. I have a little bit of ambition for my dad. Actually, when I was 17 years old, I started taking my real estate classes. And when I was taking them in Independence at a college there, I was still in high school and taking college classes there on Saturdays and Sundays, 10 hours each day. The instructor said, you're not old enough to be a real estate agent. What are you doing here? I'm like, well, I'll be 18 when I take the exam. He's like, okay. So it was me as a 17-year-old with a bunch of 60-year-olds at the time. So I knew I wanted to pursue something. I just never knew what. So I've had my real estate license since I was 18. I still have it. That's just something I just have on the side, just for fun, I guess. And I flipped houses before and things like that. But after my business degree, I got into the corporate world for a little bit, moved to Florida, started building homes there, and started a remodel company in Florida, Southwest Florida, Fort Myers. My wife and I, after we got married in 2005, Christina and I moved there for 8 years. Our first son was born there, and then we got pregnant with our second son, Joshua, and then she said, can we move back to Cleveland to be by her family? Her family's in Strongsville. And so we moved here, and after coming here, trying to buy a business, that didn't work out, so I moved in to open up ice cream and yogurt shops. Had that for a few years, gave that company to my brother, got into the corporate world for a few years, and then I was itching after 3 years, but I stayed there 5 years to do my own thing again. And so I left corporate world and currently have a generator business and a coffee shop, and now opening up the nonprofit. And God hopefully will he's opening up potentially a couple more businesses to have. I enjoy entrepreneurship, I really do. And I encourage everybody to maybe give it a shot at some point in their life, because you can do it here in America. In other countries, you can't. Like my dad could never own his own business in Romania when he was growing up, because the land and everything was owned by the government. So now being in America, I'm gonna try to take advantage of any opportunity that I have, especially when it's having my own business. So so we have the two boys. I have a 13 and a 16-year-old. Joshua's 13, Jeremiah's 16. My wife is Christina, and we homeschool our kids. We've done private, public homeschool for most of their life. And we've had about, I think, 9 foster kids in and out of our house. The longest stay with us was 2.5 years for two sisters that were with us. And they got adopted by a Christian family. And my wife is involved in multiple nonprofit things too here locally. We really want to pour into our community because we live here. And so we want to be proactive in that as much as possible. And then, because of my background, really what drives the international, because of the risk my dad took, I'm like, okay, I can take some risks too. Yeah. But there's always risk even here. But I encourage people, take a risk. Don't be sitting back.
Jesus is outside of the boat.
Oh,
he's
100%.
Not in he's outside our comfort zone. There's no doubt he's outside of our comfort zone. And if we want to get close to him, we have to get out of the boat.
Yeah. And I've actually used that passage recently where the disciples were afraid.
Yeah.
And he's like, aren't you, I forgot the exact words, I have to look it up, like, we're afraid, aren't you worried? Or he's like, why is your faith gone? And for me, that means like, wait, he's with them in a boat. Like they shouldn't have been scared. He's right there. He's getting the same wind in his face that they are, the same waves.
Well, he was sleeping,
everything.
Right? Didn't they have to wake him up in that passage? They had to wake him up,
right,
to tell him, hey, we're scared.
Yeah, but he was with them. So when I'm in Ukraine, when we're at the grocery store and you want to witness or encourage somebody, Jesus is with you. So don't be afraid. Jesus was with them in the boat, and he's with us wherever we are. We shouldn't have fear of man. We should go and be bold and courageous with love and confidence that Jesus will be with us.
Amen. Well, Cosmin, thank you for taking time out of your day to come share with us on the Public Square.
Thank you, Rob, for having me. This was a privilege.
Thank you for listening to Rob Walgate's conversation with Cosmin Bota today on the Public Square. To hear this entire hour-plus long episode and see it on video, please visit us on YouTube at TPS in Studio. Look for the lamppost. And we'll see you next time on the Public Square. Thanks for listening.
The Public Square is a broadcast service of the American Policy Roundtable.